Oh, what a tangled web we weave. It was once called Morbin time, but now it's Madam time. Madam Web, it's time to talk about it. Let's go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Klepcx FM, brought to you by CritiX.com, a place where we talk about movies, television, pop culture. And if you're into that kind of thing, hit that subscribe key and that notification bell so you can be up to speed about everything I talk about here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've had the opportunity, like a lot of other critics in some of the world, had the opportunity to check out S.J. Clarkson's Madam Web. That's right. That director is known for doing a lot of TV series like Succession, Jessica Jones, and The Defenders. For those of you who are wondering if she even had any Marvel background, she does. The good stuff too. So we thought. And now she got her feature film from Sony/Marvel, Madam Web, and before I talk about what I thought about this, because I think a lot of her background speaks to what we got, let me tell you a little bit about what it is. Now, for those of you who don't know, Madam Web stars Dakota Johnson, who plays a paramedic by the name of Cassie Webb. She is a clairvoyant, and she unlocks some inner powers that allow her to foresee certain futures, and she must use these powers to help save the lives of these three young women who possibly in the near future may become other spider people. So let's talk about this movie and what I thought, because, and this is by no means trying to fluff or save this film, because I do agree with this consensus out there about this film. I will say, however, after watching this movie carefully and thoroughly, I do understand where all parties are coming from. I understand why Sony believed that this was possibly a great idea and why they felt that it should come out. I also understand why the critics hate it, including myself. I understand why some casuals may be okay with it. And I also understand why someone like Dakota Johnson, who's recently, I don't know if it's a rumor or not, has come forward to say that she would be open to a sequel if possible. So, with that being said, Madam Web it's a mess. But I will say this. I think the problem with this film, beyond just the dialogue of it, because the dialogue is what the one thing that a lot of people are feeling strongly about. It really comes off as very cheesy and very quirky in a way where it just doesn't sell itself very well. And that is because this film primarily feels like a TV show. It feels like it should have been made for television. It feels like something CW would have come up with, whereas that casual audience that's really not tight-knit to it or doesn't really understand it would have probably really fallen in love with this had it had been brought to us via television in like an episodic type of deal. It feels that corny. It feels that cheesy. Although it's connected to the bigger universes and they try to play it downplay it like it's not. I mean, they're giving all the nods without saying actual names. If you are familiar with the Spider-Verse and the Spider-Man lore and the storylines and character names, you are going to know exactly who they're trying to talk about without talking about it. And yeah, that's what kind of makes you feel like it's a cheapened version of a Marvel film, because and this thing takes itself very seriously. Like, I was expecting it to be like, okay, since we're gonna, downplay things and kind of be, its own thing, maybe they were gonna be a little lighthearted with it. But no, honestly, this thing is pretty serious toned. It's pretty dark until it gets to like the close to the third act, where Dakota is like kind of with these girls and they're kind of on their mission trying to escape the villain in the movie. Then you get a little bit of quips here and there, and you might chuckle a little bit because it's kind of cheesy and ridiculous. But for the most part, this thing is taking itself very seriously, which makes it laughable because it's so bad as far as dialogue and, characters. And I mean, let's talk about one major character, which is the villain of this film, which a lot of you I know have been hearing about this, Ezekiel Sims, whose character has been completely retconned in a way where it could have worked, because it's very close to his comic book storyline, but they just don't give you enough time to understand. They don't give you enough to understand about his character outside of the fact that he just wanted all this power for himself, and he offs someone and then kind of just runs off with this power and then becomes this evil entity that is in fear of his life, so to speak. So they try to make you empathize with his character without making him empathetic at all, because he just comes off as this really horrible douchebag that's just out to just murder some people so that he can survive. Not telling us why he wants to survive, but that's his storyline. The three girls who play the victims in this, they are supposed to be very powerful in the near future, very powerful Spider people, similar to a Peter Parker. You have two versions of Spider Woman. Their names are Spider Woman as they get older, and then you have Spider Girl, who was played by Isabella Mercado from the Dora movie. Sydney Sweeney plays Julia Cornwell. I can't remember what her name was, because in the comic they totally retconned. In the comic, we know her as Julia Carpenter, as a version of Spider Woman. And then you have the other young lady, Celeste O'Connell, who plays another version of Spider Woman as well, with the legs that come out of the back. Cool and all. The trailer's a little deceiving. You don't get any of those super suits, and well, you get them, but you don't get a lot of them. There's no superhero origin story here, ladies and gentlemen. This thing is solely about Madam Web, which was okay. I get it. It's stories about her, so we want to see her coming into her ability, and find a little bit about who she is. It has all the right pieces, ladies and gentlemen. The story is just told very poorly. And I think that as a casual person, not saying I'm casual, but other casual people who aren't so tight-knit to this thing, who don't care about comic book tie-ins, who know the most minimal thing possible about a Peter Parker turning into Spider-Man. They don't know his family. They don't know his origin. They may watch this and say, wasn't that bad? So, Madam Web, cool, I saw it. And that's about it. But for us diehard movie enthusiasts who understand story structure, who understand how to tell these stories, particularly superhero stuff, they're probably not going to like this. And that's being said, like, I walked out of there expecting to downright loathe this thing and walk out of there kicking my chair, throwing my popcorn, ripping up my ticket, and telling the manager off at the theater. But I didn't, because at the end of the day, yeah, it doesn't have all the beats that we expect, like a Spider-Man 2 or like a No Way Home, or, it's just something a lot more structured. It's very poorly written. The dialogue is so cringy. There's no post-credit scenes either, so there is no like setup or leads or anything. They knew that this was just going to be a contained one-off. There are some cool little cameos. You got Adam Scott in there. You got Mike Epps is in this thing for no particular reason. I don't know why his character was in this, but for the most part, Madam Web it's a terrible movie. They meant very well and they took themselves very seriously, and you can tell, but it just wasn't good enough to be taken seriously. And that's just my opinion on this film. And clearly the rest of the world kind of feels the same way about it. Would I rule it out? I mean, like I said, if you're a diehard comic book fan and you love Spider-Man, I would recommend you stay away. But if you are someone that's just looking to watch a movie with some powerful, cool female characters, and you don't really care who Peter Parker's uncle is or who his mom is, check it out. You might actually like it. I would love to know what you all think about Madam Web. If you've seen it, if you did not, like, comment, share. Make sure you subscribe. And for more movie news, pop culture, check out wearecritics.com. And I will talk to you all later. Peace.